I am here to honestly witness one of the biggest crash out series in gacha gaming. I'm not even sure if I'm going to upload this or not, but depending on how absolutely hilarious this is, we might think about it. And this is none other than 2Who Sniper, who, with his delusional Gacha Takes series, has basically just been going in and trying to address drama in the community. And all he's really doing is, I don't know, like, this almost seems like a version of, like, virtual therapy, where he's, like, venting the most insane takes that any person could possibly have. And today, of course, he's going to be focusing on Ryuku Sensei and his bad take on effort. I've actually pre-watched a little bit of this video, and I'm going to be honest, it is one of the most unhinged things I've ever seen. And honestly, I feel like we're all in the mood to lighten our mood, especially after Wuwa's anniversary. And so let's just go into this looking to have a good time and share a couple of laughs. Because, my oh my, this might be one of the funniest videos ever made.
So dudes, welcome back to the third episode of Delusional Gacha Takes. I'm your host, the god of gacha himself, 2Who, and today I want to...
The ego on this guy is incredible. I'm so baffled that he still has, like, this idea that he is, like, the god of gacha. Like, in what universe is somebody whose YouTube channel has, like, fallen off of a fucking cliff that could kill fucking Omni-Man? It's fallen off a cliff so large it could kill Omni-Man, and then we're just going in and saying we're still the god of gacha just because we play a lot of games. It's crazy.
Talk about this tweet from Ryuku Sensei and why this is an unbelievably bad take. If you're new to the channel, my name is
2Who, and you instead of spelling the who, H-U, it's W-H-O.
Sniper 98, but again, you can just call me 2Who, and I am the god of gacha games. I've been playing gacha for the last 8 years, and right now I'm maining 13 of them at once. The clip that I just showed is actually outdated, by the way. Replace GFL 1 with GFL 2 and add etc, and then it'll be accurate. This video is a part of a new semi-regular series where I discuss gacha drama that either I come across or viewers let me know about, and I feel the need to call it out. What I want to talk about today isn't really drama per se, but I saw this tweet pop up on my timeline about last week or so from a gacha CC named Ryuku Sensei, and
yeah, so basically what he's doing in this series is looking for, like, one take that is very, very disagreeable with him, and then he proceeds to vent for a quarter of an hour about it, with some of the most biased takes and some of the most underdeveloped arguments that I think any person, let alone a CC, could have. So yeah, just do keep that in mind. You need to have a condom for your brain before watching his vids. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, you need some form of protection before you dive into whatever the fuck he's trying to say. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Reading it made me wonder how the f this guy is even allowed to be a gacha content creator, so here we are.
I didn't know, is there like a regulation board? Is there like a license to be a gacha content creator that I'm simply just not familiar with?
This tweet, Ryuku said... Actually, I'm not even going to call him Sensei. That implies he actually knows a thing or two about gacha. Ryuku says, it really does seem like Hoyo isn't even trying anymore.
He's
literally
so
zero effort in anything they're putting out. I always get asked, you always talk bad about Hoyo, but why don't you cover the good stuff that Hoyo does? Sure, I'll do it when they do something good. Come on, man. There are... a few things that are very ignorant about this tweet. Let's start with the comparison he's making here between the splash arts for Wuwa and...
I love the way that he's, like, enunciating so many of, like, the start and the ends, like, this tweet-ta. There is something so wrong with this tweet-ta. It's like... He's just like, it's like every word is like ending so harshly, and like he's just so mad. It's like, bro, it's like, how mad could you get from like a tweet? That tweet wasn't even like that crazy. It's just saying like, Hoyo shit kind of sucks. Like, bro looks furious. He sounds furious.
Genshin in relation to his quote retweet. If he said something along the lines of, man, Wu was killing it with his splash arts, just look at how much better they look compared to Genshin's these days, I actually wouldn't have a problem with that. Because yeah, if you look at these two splash arts for Zanny and Escoffier, if I'm pronouncing that right, there's no doubt that Zanny's looks more impressive with its extremely detailed background that reminds me of an Arknight's E2 background, while Escoffier's is just like a pattern behind her or something.
So why is he so mad? It's like he like agrees. he like agrees with the baseline take.
That ain't what Ryuku said now, is it? Instead, he goes all, it really does seem like Hoyo isn't even trying anymore.
Real voice.
Which implies that he thinks that
Real
Genshin
voice.
splash arts have like degraded over time or something. Okay, then let's go check out some splash arts that Genshin's made before over the past 5 years
bro
to
brought
see
the
if that's really the
receipts.
case or not.
He brought the
Here's
receipts.
Mona,
Oh, shit.
Ganyu, Yoimiya, Dehya, Navia, and Zilanen. If you ask me, everyone's splash arts here seem pretty consistent. All the characters are decorated with something in the background that relates to them. Mona's got like planets and stars and runes.
Why does Mona's actually look like one of the best out of all of these? Wait, no, I'm not even joking. Wait, hers has like hella shit on it. Wait, no, hers is like one of the best out of all of them.
Because of her astrology stuff. Ganyu's got cryo
This one's dog shit. Yeah, there's nothing there.
flowers. Yoimiya's got fireworks.
This one's pretty bad,
Dehya's
too.
got flame.
This one's actually okay. It looks kind of cool. Wait, that looks like fucking Chang Li's forte. Wait, yeah, it looks like she's using Chang Li's forte skill.
Spears and that pyro sword thing that she uses for her skill. Navia's got big
This one's good too. Like the fuck? What do you mean? This one's hella. Look at this one compared to Ganyu. I'm gonna be honest here. Like, he did bring the receipts, but they aren't even like good examples. Like, this one is straight up better than like the Ganyu and then the Yoimiya one that we saw. 1,000,000%. It's just better.
gas cannons and an explosion. And Zilo's got sound waves because she's got her own turntables or
No, they're just showing off her ass.
something like that for some reason. The exceptions to this pattern are the Archons, who have much more detailed splash arts than everyone else. But like, it should be obvious why. It's because they're the Archons. They represent their entire regions, and so their splash arts have something to do with that.
Yeah, they're the Archons. Yeah, that's why Miyabi is the strongest character in the game, because she's a Void Hunter. Ooh, that's why Acheron destroyed the damage ceiling in the game, because she's an Emanator. Look at my forced arbitrary logic.
Matter of fact, technically, miHoYo seems to have improved a little bit, since Venti's is clearly the simplest, but everyone else after him has better looking backgrounds, and Venti was the first Archon we got in the game. It's not like a huge improvement, to be fair, but to say that Hoyo isn't even trying anymore? What's even more hilarious is that the first reply thread to Ryuku's QRT.
I just want to quickly review what a Scopier even looks like. That's on the lower end for sure. I think that objectively, this is on the lower end for sure. Yeah, compared to the ones that we've seen prior, that's on the lower end. Absolutely. Yeah, worse than Mona's, worse than Navia's for sure.
It's not like a huge improvement, to be fair, but to say that Hoyo isn't even trying anymore? What's even more hilarious is that the first reply thread to Ryuku's QRT, this guy gives an example of Zhongli as like the only splash art that they legit like from Genshin, and then Ryuku follows it up with, back when they actually put effort into the game, ... So we're doubling down on the dog take now, are we? But then this Cosmos guy replies with, I can't say that's the truth because if you look at the other splash arts around the same patches, they were all mid. They're all just their abilities, their elements, and a little bit of background.
Imagine being this mad about this. Imagine reading this tweet and just being like, ah! How could he say that? I need to make a 15-minute video on this!
And guess what? Ryuku's nowhere to be found. How convenient. This random Twitter guy had the 1.5 brain cells that you needed to realize that Ryuku's comparison was trash. They went back and looked at the other splash arts in the game and saw that they're pretty much all the same quality. Again, with the exceptions of the Archons, so clearly it can't be that miHoYo isn't even trying anymore, like Ryuku's trying to claim that it is.
But you can't lie, he is funny. I'm telling you, I told you guys this was one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. I made sure to preface this by saying it's one of the funniest videos I have ever seen. Literally. It's I don't even know if he's trying to be funny.
And you're telling me that a content creator like Ryuku couldn't do that? Are you kidding me? These are the people you call content creators for the gacha scene? Again, if Ryuku's tweet was about him saying that he prefers Wuwa's splash arts because they look better, then there's nothing I'll say against that, because I agree, Wuwa's splash arts have consistently been better than Genshin's, even going back to the start of the game. Hell, even the perma 5 stars all have very detailed backgrounds to the point where you need Genshin's art.
Why do you put Jian? Jian's a limited character. He says perma 5 stars, then just fucking puts the first limited unit in the game. Wait, has he even played Wuwa? Or is this like meant to be like a pointed joke? Like, oh, Jian's so bad, he's actually a standard unit.
Yeah, those Wuwa shills are gonna be... Yeah, they won't see this one coming.
Detailed backgrounds to the point where you need Genshin's Archons to compare them appropriately. So he can glaze Kuro all he wants in this sense, and while I'd still roast him for sucking Kuro's dick like his name is Saint Tontus,
I swear to God, this thing. I think a lot of you guys have recognized that bro has mentioned me in like a similar way in like his last 5 videos. And I have to assume it's because of jealousy. Because I'm sure bro is like 10 years older than me, but can't even get close to the level of facial hair that I have.
welcome to the pilot.
The fuck is that? He probably been growing that out for 3 months. What in the hell even is that? I told him, just shave it, bro. Just get rid of it. It's not good.
Kuro all he wants in this sense, and while I'd still roast him for sucking Kuro's dick like his name is Saint Tontus, there's no denying that Wuwa's splash arts are indeed more detailed and have more effort put into them. But to talk some bullshit about how MiHoYo isn't even trying anymore, when 1, that doesn't seem to be the case when we looked at Genshin splash arts over the years, and 2, it's clearly a stylistic choice, and there's a very obvious pattern to not just Genshin's but also Wuwa's? Nah, you're delusional. The second ignorant part of Ryuku's tweet is this, and bear with me, Wuwa glazers, including you too, Ryuku, because this might be a little bit rough for y'all to listen to.
Okay, I'm
Genshin is still the biggest, most popular gacha game in the world. Now,
Sure.
before y'all start instantly typing up your comments below, calling me a Hoyo shill,
Oh, I guess he must be spitting. God of unemployment, please. That's probably worse than being called a Hoyo shill.
I say that Genshin is the most popular gacha in the world, not to glaze it, but rather to point out something that most people will never think about when it comes to comparing big gachas. If you want to make a big production gacha, like Wuthering Waves these days, Genshin Impact is the game you're trying to beat. Genshin is your main competition.
I think most people that have played both games will unilaterally tell you that Wuthering Waves is a better game.
Especially considering what kind of a game Wuwa is, another open-world, exploration-based gacha game. And with how big Genshin is and how much of a head start it has, it's gonna be tough. So Kuro's gotta put in mad effort to try and play catch-up. They gotta put in the 150%, the 200% effort to make Wuwa as good of a product as they can in order to give players a reason to come try out their game and, more importantly, stick with it instead of going back to play other gachas like Genshin. Now,
Yeah?
don't get me wrong, Genshin isn't without its own problems either. It's far from a perfect gacha, and there's plenty of things that MiHoYo can do to improve it. Lots of quality of life stuff and content that they could add to make Genshin a better game.
I could think of at least 400 different quality of life updates they could make, yeah?
Hell, I even made not just 1, but 2 videos both 2 years ago and last year detailing all the ways that I could think of to improve Genshin Impact. And since I'm only one guy, I'm sure there are plenty of other things that I haven't thought of or I just missed that other people could suggest. But here's the thing, because Genshin is still the most popular gacha in the world, they have what I like to call top gacha privilege. It's kind of like an economic monopoly in the sense that because Genshin is the biggest gacha out there, they can do literally whatever they want.
And yeah, they've been doing that. And they're still doing that right now. Think about all the power creep that they just put into the game with the release of Mabawika and Sitlali and Jilonin. The team that does, I think, double the amount of damage of like the other ones, or maybe 1.5x. Oh, they also doubled the HP in the Abyss since 4.6 as well. So yeah, no, they're HSR and Genshin. Yeah, this idea of top gacha privilege. Very, very, very true. They're doing whatever the fuck they want. Global passive.
They can have any kind of content schedule, any kind of agenda. They can do literally whatever the they want, because they know that as long as they keep their core audience happy and do what they've always done for the past 5 years, there will always be people who will still play their game and pay for new characters and weapons. No other gacha studio or company can do something quite like this.
When Touhou is like not blinded by rage, bro can sometimes spit. I'm not gonna lie, right? Bro can sometimes spit when he's not blinded by rage.
Maybe the exceptions of like really old legacy Japanese gachas like Grand Blue Fantasy or FGO or Sennon Aegis, but even FGO finally added a pity to their gacha like 6 or 7 years in. And guess what the reason for that was? That's right, it was Genshin. Because before them, FGO was actually one of the most popular gachas in the world, and they had top gacha privilege because of their popularity and the power of the Fate IP.
Do keep in mind that this entire discussion is occurring because Ryuku compared the splash arts of Zani and Escoffier. Do remember that that was the original point that this discussion has originated from, and now we're talking about FGO adding pity to their banners. Once you factor that in, the video just becomes even funnier. Like, you just have to take a moment, reflect, and be like, how did we get here?
But now that Genshin Impact exists, and FGO's been having developer problems with their dev team leaving their previous company to Lightworks and having staff shortages and other issues, the game has been compelled to add an actual pity that it didn't have for the majority of its life cycle in an attempt to stay relevant and keep up with the evolving gacha industry. Now, Kuro Game is in the position that MiHoYo was in 5 years ago, where they're the ones who have to prove to everyone that their game, Wuthering Waves, is worth playing over Genshin. It's not impossible, obviously. Kuro's been able to secure a, let's just call them a very loyal fan base who thinks Kuro can do no wrong.
I think as proven by the unilaterally agreed take that the anniversary rewards are not good and they should be better. Yeah, I think he's just, he's just pretty much entirely off base with this one.
The point I'm trying to make here is that between MiHoYo and Kuro, it's Kuro that needs to put in the extra effort to have Wuwa compete with Genshin.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you can kind of see across every single update and every single feature. Yeah, Kuro's putting a lot more work into Wuwa than Hoyo's putting into Genshin. Yeah, I guess we're just stating facts of like what has happened. I think it's pretty verifiable. I think everyone can agree on it.
The ball is in their court to make Wuwa as good of a gacha as they can and keep improving it as much as possible. That's why in the context of Ryuku's tweet, Wuwa's character splash arts are much more detailed and look way more impressive than Genshin's because they have to be. If Wuwa's splash arts were the same thing as Genshin's, a lot of people will look at them and go, oh, it's just another Genshin. Why would I play this Wuthering Waves game when I'm already playing Genshin? You might say it's unfair to judge how good Wuwa is simply based off splash arts, and, you know, I would agree, but in this case, for casual gacha players, one of the best ways to get them to play your game is to impress them with your characters, so how they look is a critical part of a gacha success. But
why is he mad? Like, why was he so mad when he, like, you could just tell, like, the moment he went back to Ryuku's tweet, he went from like 0 to 100 real quick.
Critical part of a gacha success. But hey, Ryuku looks at character splash arts in 2 different gachas and instantly comes to the conclusion that, oh, MiHoYo isn't even making any effort anymore.
I mean, isn't that true? Because based off of what he just said, with top gacha privilege, doesn't that mean you can just not try and still be on top because of the top gacha privilege point that he just made? I mean, I'm gonna be real here, right? I'm just merely using his entire argument and then applying it to the situation. And so, is Ryuku even wrong based off the explanation that he just gave? Man, this is like a Pokemon battle where they have the confusion status effect afflicted on them, and you try to use an attack, and then your Pokemon just ends up hurting itself.
Based off that. So, what comes around goes around, I guess. Last thing I want to talk about for—
You don't know the irony of that statement. You don't know how ironic it is for you to say what comes around goes around. I feel like he fundamentally doesn't understand how insanely applicable that actually was to him.
For this video is Ryuku himself. I first learned about him as a gacha CC late last year when one of my viewers linked me one of his videos criticizing Star Rail's story. Though for some reason, even though he talked mainly about the story if I recall correctly, the video itself was titled, "Honkai Star Rail is the worst gacha I've ever played. Your classic dog clickbait thumbnail and video title that so many dog gacha content creators do.
Bro's so angry he fell off. He's so angry he fell off. He's so mad.
Gacha content creators do. But the video itself was good. Like, I agreed with most of what he talked about in it because I myself made a video earlier that year complaining about Panakini's story and how much of a waste of potential that was.
Wait, bro's just mad that Ryuku's video did better than his. Bro is still caught up in his feelings that Ryuku video did way better than his.
Only thing I didn't really like about Ryuku's video, though, was the fact that at the end, he seemed to, like, try to backpedal a lot of his aggression he had throughout the video towards Star Rail, which is a bit funny when one of his other videos looks like this. Delusion, huh? Dude's clearly never looked in a mirror before.
Come on, man. We can't be talking about delusion. Like, you know you needed to shave this 4 weeks ago. You know that you needed to shave this 4 weeks ago. Let's not talk about delusion when looking in the mirror over here. Come on, man.
That was my first impression of him. I've had something of a neutral to maybe a slightly positive opinion of him. That and people don't really bring him up in my streams compared to like other CCs like Gacha Smacker, Saint Tontus, whose retarded gacha takes breach containment on a daily basis, it seems like.
This guy's one of the most dedicated haters in the space. Bro is one of the most dedicated haters in the space. Oh my god.
So to see Ryuku make a tweet like this is pretty disappointing, man. It's one thing to make clickbait content and exaggerate things a little. Like, I get it. That's just how the content creation game works, and as much as I hate it, that's what brings in the clicks and views, and I'm no exception myself either with this whole delusional gacha take series that I got going on here. But this tweet is not it. This is just pure, unadulterated, 100% synthetic wuwa glaze. And while it's not the worst wuwa glazing I've seen, go look at Saint Tontus for that.
Ryuku's bad take. Bro mentioned me just 3 times. Bro ended up mentioning me 3 times. This is generational hating. This is a generational level of hating.
That's still what it is. It's ignorant, short-sighted, and biased. You can be a fan of one particular game over another. That on its own is fine. Hell, you can even talk about other games that you don't like. And while I don't condone that sort of behavior, that's just what people are gonna do. But at the very least, if you're gonna talk shit, don't be retarded about it. Again, there was a better way for Ryuku to make that tweet.
There's also a better way to make this video. Just don't make it.
And he says in his own tweet that he'll cover the good stuff that Hoyo does, which implies that he's willing to give MiHoYo credit where credit is due. So, he could have said something like, man, Wuwa's splash arts look so good compared to Genshin's. I hope Genshin could maybe one day improve their splash arts too to kind of look like this, or something like that. But clearly that's not what he chose to do. Instead, he went full Wuwa Glazer mode and felt the need to put down Genshin because that's the popular thing to do. To brainlessly hate on Genshin, to suck Wuwa's dick a little more and make himself look like a cunt. Oh,
bro. Oh, bro, it's too good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, he's so... It's so unhinged, bro. It's like, I told you, part of it is the language he's using, but another big part of it is the enunciation. Bro is like, there's legitimate venom. There's legitimate venom behind the phrasing here. Holy shit.
And make himself look like a cunt. Oh, and kindly allow me to remind you all that since Ryuku put MiHoYo as a whole on blast for, not putting in any effort, I could bring in all of Zenless Zone Zero.
Bro's like pretending he's in a courtroom. Your Honor, they have opened the door to this branch of conversation by introducing a certain piece of evidence. And so it is perfectly viable for me to go into this breakdown. Bro is just comparing Zani and Escoffier's splash arts, bro. Why are you doing this? Why are you this mad?
Into this conversation, and how well MiHoYo's been handling that game so far. But for the sake of video length, and because I think I've made my point abundantly clear by now, I'll refrain from doing so. For someone who calls himself Sensei and claims that he's a gacha addict in his Twitter profile, you are neither. You're just another drone in a sea of uneducated gacha content creators who do nothing but bottom feed the dregs of the ocean for the latest little morsels of woo content that you can lap up to keep blasting your stupid Kuro agenda from out your ass cracks. Also, get rid of the word sensei from all your social media handles, cause clearly that doesn't mean anything to you.
Do you guys see what I mean? When I said this has to be one of the funniest videos, this has to be one of the funniest videos on YouTube. Like, one of the funniest gacha videos in the space.
Calling yourself sensei implies that you want to teach people about something, in this case gacha. Not only does it seem like you're not doing that, but you don't seem to know jack about gachas to begin with.
I think Ryuku actually teaches English in Japan, so he actually is a teacher in real life.
Not a teacher, you're a preacher, and a bad one too.
You're not a teacher. You're a preacher, and a bad one too.
Damn, that was cold, brother man. That was cold.
And in my domain as the god of gacha, I don't tolerate false prophets. So I'm here to tell the rest of you that Ryuku, at least in this tweet, is delusional. And don't bother wasting your time trying to hit me back with the usual, oh, you're just a hoy.
Did he just...
In this tweet is delusional. And don't bother...
Did he just gain more facial hair?
Bother wasting your time trying to hit me back with the usual, oh, you're just a Hoyo shill because you're defending me Hoyo, like you probably will once you see this video, because if you do, hey, I'll just bring up your own damn Twitter page and show you what your last 10 or so posts look like. Gee, I wonder who the real shill is here. And that'll do it for the third episode of Delusional Gacha Takes. Once again, I'm Tuhu, your host with the most, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me put these delusional gacha dumbasses in their place.
Yeah, dude, that was an absolute cook. You cooked him real good. Fucking destroyed him, to be honest. Yeah, I totally am. Oh, my cheeks are hurting from like smiling and laughing too much. Holy shit.
If you guys know any gacha drama going on, or just bad gacha takes in general that you want me to cover, let me know down in the comments below. And subscribe to the channel for more. And
I might have to subscribe because this has to be some of the best content, like unintentionally good content I've ever seen. It has to be some of the most unintentionally good content I've ever seen. It's like, it's satire while not being satire. And the end result is that it's just fucking hilarious. I know that obviously the purpose of this video is to be like negative and spread negative energy, but like after watching this, I'm like in a good mood.
Boy, oh boy, will there be more. All my social links are down in the description below, and if you really enjoy the content, consider supporting me on Patreon as well.
We might have to support him on Patreon.
And come watch my streams either right here on YouTube or over on Twitch, because I dual stream. Thanks for watching, be cool y'all, and we'll see you in the next one.
I actually caught a little bit of a Tohu stream, and hopefully he still has it on YouTube, because I want to show you guys something absolutely hilarious if he still has the prior recording up. So you see the length of the stream, it's 5 hours. He stays in the exact same position with trigger for 2 minutes, or for 2 hours. I didn't know it was this long. I thought you only did it for like an hour. Now I know it's 2. I'm like crying. He's just sitting there not doing anything for 2 hours. It's like legitimately like more than 1/3 of his stream. He's just not doing anything. Yeah, so hopefully after Wuwa's anniversary, this video has managed to put you in a good mood. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a like, because this was one of the, even if it was intentional or not, it's one of the best videos I've ever seen.